good?
Yeah. Thank you. Give it 3 more minutes. 2 more minutes. So it's a hamburger with roast beef on it.
And cheese. Oh, wait, no, that's the other one.
We're going to start in 2 minutes. If you have to go to the bathroom, they're out in the hallway. Just pee in the hallway. It's something people Saturday and Sunday to talk about. The smell at the end of this building.
It smells good down there.
Apple smell. So nobody has jobs? Is that what this is? This is the jobless day of no job, no work? Nothing? No? All right. Well, we're happy you have no jobs. As long as you have enough money to buy a comic book once in a while. Or steal one. Don't steal. Just kids, don't steal. Don't get caught, I mean. One of those two. Don't steal. Don't get caught. When I was a kid, I got caught stealing in the, you know, you do it once, right? You have to have that first time, so you never do it again.
What were you stealing?
I was in Macy's and I stole a 35mm camera, a zoom lens, and the bag that it goes in. And they caught me right outside Macy's, and they brought me back in. I think I was maybe 14 or 15, right? And I just wanted to make movies, right? So I thought, I can't afford this. It's mine. It's destiny. Anyway, I took it. They caught me. They put me in a room and left me in the room alone for a half hour, which is the scariest thing in the world when you're that age. And then this guy comes in and he goes, all right, he comes in with a phone and plugs it in. What's your home number? We're going to call up your mother and your father right now to come pick you up. So the guy gets on the phone, I give him the number because I figure I'm doomed anyway, and they call my house and I'm listening to the conversation and they hear, send them home right now. That sounds like something my dad would say. So I was like, oh no, because my dad was military and it's just bad, man. There's 4 boys in the family, right? So, he's seen it all twice before me, my 2 older brothers, but for me, this was the biggest thing in my life, and
You've never done something so bad.
No, and I went big. I didn't, don't do it unless I went big. I didn't steal a comic book. I didn't steal candy. I took a 35mm camera with a zoom lens and a bag. It came in right from the counter. I just took it and walked. I don't know what was going on in my head. Anyway, so to get home, it was 30 blocks. 30 city blocks. It was Brooklyn, right? So it was a good mile and a half, maybe. So I took a bus home, and it was oh God, I don't even want to compare it to that, but it was the bus trip to doom. And I was hoping it would stop at every light and everything. Nope, it flew right down, made it to Avenue J and Flatbush Avenue. I got out and slowly walked to my house, and I think it was even that was worse than the punishment that was going to come, because I was just so scared to go home. And I open the door, and my older brother, Tony, comes out, and he goes, "You're so lucky I answered the phone." Like that. It was my older brother. And I was like, what? And he goes, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "Oh my God," and he's like, "You're so lucky." Anyway, he gave me a list of things to do for the next 3 to 4 months that I had to do, because if not, he was going to tell Mom and Dad. So, yeah, I was his slave. For a couple of months, every stupid thing, my brother would be like, "I thirst," and then I'd have to run upstairs and get him a soda, and he's like, "This 2 ice cubes more would make this perfect for me." I'd be like, "Oh, okay." Anyway, all right. So, welcome to the Jimmy and Amanda panel. Yes, we like to do these panels. It's sort of like a getting to know us kind of thing. I mean, we love doing our comics and everything, but
there's so much more to us than just Harley Quinn.
And there's so much more to you guys, because we get to hang out with you guys and, swap stories and have some fun. So it's not going to be an information dump about the comics unless you have questions. We're going to talk unless you want. But it's going to be about anything we want and our experiences. And some of you guys probably want to be in comics. So you might have questions on how we got in or how we suggest you do it now. right?
Yeah, because it's so different now than it used to be. It used to be way different.
Yeah.
You used to be able to just waltz right into Marvel and DC and go, hey, can I show my portfolio? And they don't do that anymore.
No.
Ever since 9/11. Yeah,
Yeah.
now there's like guards and
Security.
showing your ID and yeah, it's all.
But there is online. We didn't have computers
Yeah.
right back
So
then. I
there's
know it
like-
sounds weird to some people, but there weren't computers forever. They're kind of
only
a new thing.
NASA and, you know, the government had computers.
Right. NASA had a computer that got the first men on the moon that had less information in it than your cell phone right now. So it was the size of this room, but you know, your phone is more powerful than that computer in that room, which is pretty wild to conceive. But also, Amanda knows everything. So you can ask her the question.
Like, yeah, today we discovered that I don't know what a petunia looks like.
You know,
I know it's a flower, but I don't. Does it look like a sweet pea or does it look like a daisy? You know?
Yeah, it's like a Warner Brothers word. Petunia.
Well, I said,
right? It's like
I
a
said
cartoon
something.
word.
What did I say? I
isn't it?
said, oh, it don't smell like petunias. And then Judy said, what does a petunia smell like? And I said, I don't know. I don't even know if I know what one looks like. So.
But yeah, it's definitely a Looney Tunes thing, because I
Yeah.
think it would be like petunias, like definitely. We grew up Bugs Bunny and
Yeah.
Daffy Duck, so pretty much if you read Harley Quinn, you kind of understand that in a way that it's a little
Harley's
wacky.
kind of like Bugs Bunny.
She is kind of like a dangerous,
very
Bugs
dangerous
Bunny.
Bunny.
We love that. So thank you guys for coming, and you know, it's Friday, and we call it people have their job day, and it's great. Well, I can't wait to go to the con, so don't go to work day.
You could be at a bar with your friends, but you chose to be here. It's
So
very flattering.
We appreciate that. We appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
And yeah, me telling about getting caught, you know, that's what we like to do. We tell stories. Who remembers the first time? Did anybody never steal anything? A couple of you guys never stole anything. And all right, so I see a big crime wave coming in your future. What's that?
I didn't steal from a store.
Oh, what'd you steal from?
I stole a comic book from my neighbor.
You did. Did you get
He
caught?
walks in his garage. I decided it was a good idea to scoop those out. And he came to me about 3 days later, screaming about it, trying to figure out who took them and who jimmied the lock on the garage door.
They called Jimmy.
He's trying to replace stupid.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I was scared straight after that. I never did it again.
Yeah.
Like after that, I was like, oh, the gods let me go for this one. You know.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
the only thing I ever stole was I was having a sleepover at my friend Tracy's house, and I had forgotten my toothbrush, and we were at the little corner market, and she just grabs a toothbrush and sticks it in my jacket, and I was like, and I'm like, she's like, come on, let's go, and I'm like, and I have this thing in my jacket, and my heart is pounding, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. And she's like dragging me out, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to jail for 20 years for a toothbrush, you know? But I got away with it, but I never forgot it. I was like, I'm never doing that again, because it's not worth like getting close to a heart attack for a toothbrush.
You were brought up right.
Yeah.
That's what that means. You were brought up right. You know.
Yeah.
But we steal your money every month with our book, and thank you for that. No, we love, you know, we love writing Harley. Our version of Harley is a little different than a lot of the other ones that, you know, from Injustice game or from even the cartoon.
We were trying to get her more towards, you know, her personality back towards original Harley.
Yes.
You know, original Harley is just, she's in love with love, and she's a murdering psychopathic, you know, killer with a heart of gold. You know, she's sweet.
Like Amanda. She's very much like Amanda.
She's sweet, even though, like, you know, she leaves, like, you know, a swath of blood in her path.
Yeah.
But inside she's very sweet.
It's true. It's true. And we just thought, when we did it, we just thought, can we make a book fun instead of so heavy? Because all the other comics we were reading, it was so heavy. And we do have the heavy issues once in a while. We do have some stuff she deals with, but we grew up on fun things, cartoons and comics, and we just felt like that should be reflected in the book a little bit more than most. So we want to open this up to questions, because questions will get our conversation going, and it could be about anything. But if you guys have anything, it's an intimate room. There is no bad question. There's just horrible answers.
I don't think there's something that you could ask us that we would find offensive.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Yeah.
Amanda's asking you to say, go ahead, yes.
Did your parents ever find out about you stealing or attempting to steal?
No.
No?
You never told your mom and dad?
No.
Really? Not even on your dad's deathbed?
No, my dad's last words were, no. I never said anything. No, why would I do that? He's dying. Why would I tell him his son is a thief? What kind of horrible person would I be? No, there was no reason to. I was scared straight. I mean, I just felt like, I don't need to go get him beaten up again. I would have been physically beaten. I took the mental beating, which is definitely a lot harder, I think, than the physical beating. Once in a while you take a punch, you're like, yeah, it's a punch. But mental beatings can last for a long time, and they wreck your stomach. Everybody knows that. I always say, I'd rather you smack me in the head than just torture me for a while. But no, I didn't. Do you think I should have? Would it matter? I mean, I forget. My mom.
Your mom's very sensitive.
My mom would have been very disappointed, even if it was 30 years earlier. She would have been. My dad would have just looked at me like, "You're an idiot," No, but my brother knew, and that was pretty much, that was all I could bear. You grow up. I grew up Roman Catholic, so it's like the guilt was already there. I was explaining this to her, we were talking about, I went to Catholic school for 8 years, and that in itself is sort of, you learn, well, basically how to try to be invisible.
Take a beating.
Yeah, take a beating. We have, confession. People know what confession is, right? You go and tell your priest, what you did that week, and he gives you some Hail Marys, and it's all great with the world. We had a priest that was always drunk. So, as kids, we're like 4th graders, 5th graders going to convention. Really, what are we going to say? Get back. I call my friend an idiot or whatever. But he would yell what you did in the confessional booth. So we'd be sitting there in a long line. We have to get in line and stand there. And then the next person would come out, shamed. And then the next person would go in and go, "You did what? You did? I don't even want to look at you. Palmiotti, get the..." So we're in line, and this guy's yelling every sin out like that, and we're like, it was tough those 8 years. It was a tough kid. It's funny now, but the reality of looking at it was not great, because it was sort of like, it beat the religion out of me a little bit. But I kept the good parts, Be nice to people, do the right thing. I kept the good parts. The other stuff, no fish on Friday, I would argue that forever. Why can't I have fish? Why should I only eat fish on Friday? Crazy stuff like that.
Right.
I'm not the most religious person, but my sensibilities are based on the good and bad. We're in comic books, right? We read comics. From day one, we're taught what's good and what's bad. The hero makes the sacrifice. The hero is, you step up and don't look for a pat on the shoulder. You do the right thing, and then that's good enough. That should be good enough, right? We grew up with those values, a lot of us, comic book values.
Yeah.
Not CGC stuff. I'm talking real comic book values. How about you? Is that a big thing, religion, when you were a kid?
Not really, no. My mom didn't start taking me to church until I was like a teenager.
Really?
And then it was, Episcopal church. So it was like, it was nothing like Catholic church at all. It was,
How was it different?
Well, it's almost just like Catholic church, except you can have female priests, like female, they're not, they don't have all of that.
Restrictions.
They don't have, they don't
marriage.
Have,
Can they be married?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so
you can be married, and they're a lot more accepting of, all sorts of things than
that's good.
The Catholic Church. That's because my dad was Catholic too.
Right.
But my mom was like, no, let's do Episcopalian because,
there's a Church of Yoda in Canada. You know that, right? There's an actual Church of Yoda.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I might join that.
Yeah. I mean, but you think about it, like, okay, it's ridiculous now, but like 300 years from now, right, when the 8 million Star Wars movie is made and people forgot that it's not based on reality, and 300 years from now they think that's what really the world was, and they realize, well, Yoda was the first of the, here's the document of Yoda, and the Church of Yoda, which formed in, So, it'll make sense to someone. I mean, what's the religion that's near us?
Scientology.
Scientology.
In Clearwater, so
Yeah.
there's Scientology, big building, a big Scientology.
And there's a lot of like, you know, hate for whatever, you know, but I always say, well, they didn't start any wars, so I'm still on the fence with them. I don't care, you know, whatever they did. They didn't start any wars.
They're okay so far.
They're okay so far. They're actually fixing up the real estate around the neighborhood. Whatever. You know, like I said, everybody can do their own thing. As long as they don't hurt anybody, I'm kind of cool with it. There you go. Any other questions? Yes.
Who fell for who first?
Who fell for who
I
first?
think I fell for you first.
No.
Yeah.
No. She made the first move, though. She went to kiss me.
Yeah. I kissed
First,
you first.
definitely first. Yeah, I was. She was a little out of my league, but I was happy. A little out of my league.
Get out of here.
When I met her, she was a penciler at Marvel, and
we were friends for about 4 years before we started dating.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were friends for a long time.
Yeah, we were friends, and then you know, that's how I met her. Is they needed an inker for her work, and I was like, I like to ink that. You know? No, we got along great. I mean, you can just
yeah, we did. Yeah. So.
But it was her. Okay.
Yeah, I fell for you first. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Piggying off of that, where was your first date?
Where was our first date?
Like official date? Like I gotta say, Fire Island was like, you know, our first. Like, well, no, maybe
Probably
that wasn't a date. Was that a date? That was like a.
That was a kiss. That wasn't really a date.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, we were friends for so long, and we had like, you know, gone to a lot of parties with a bunch of our other friends. It all like kind of blends in because we were hanging out for so long. But I think I came into Brooklyn and you took me to that Italian. There was an Italian place on Avenue U, but it's not there anymore, and I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, the brick oven. It was some brick oven type restaurant. It was a nice restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, that was our first date, but I don't remember.
It was my smooth move. You know, big bowl of pasta so she falls asleep afterwards. Carve her up. Just carved her up. You know.
She won't be able to make it home. She'll be too tired.
Right. You can stay at my place. I know it's tiring. You do like garlic bread and pasta. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was like our first like really
Official
nice
date.
dinner together. Yeah.
We had.
That wasn't like at a party or at a bar with a bunch of beers and you know bar food. So, yeah, that was it.
We still do the date thing. We still go out on dates and stuff all the time. That's never gonna go away.
That's good. That's a good thing to do.
Captain America, yes.
Did either of you see the Batman Harley Quinn animated movie? If you did,
Not yet.
No. Has anybody seen it? You guys seen it? It's good.
Yeah. It's good. Well, they had it. Bruce Timm was showing it in San Diego, but we had something to do that night.
Yeah, we couldn't make it.
And we're like, oh, it's in the same night as we otherwise we would have gone to see it. So, but we haven't watched it yet. But I heard it's good.
Yeah, we heard it's good. I think it's on pay-per-view, right? I think it's.
Is it?
Yeah.
On demand, yeah.
Yeah.
On demand.
And you had a question. Yes? No?
Back.
Yeah. I don't know if this was asked yet, but how was your Irma experience?
Oh, we are so lucky. We got really lucky. Our house is tall and
We're in the Tampa area of Florida.
yeah, we're like Clearwater, Tampa Bay area, and our house is tall and has giant, you know, big, gigantic panes of glass, windows, and sliding glass doors, and held together with a little bit of like concrete blocks and wood. So we were like, all right, we can't. And they don't make plywood big enough to hammer in front of it. It's just
especially when the whole state's at Home Depot already picking it clean.
Yeah. So we just we took all of our valuables out of there, and you know, like we have some paintings and stuff, and we asked our across the street neighbor if we could put them in her guest bathroom because it looks like a bunker in there. And then we took some other art over to my mom and dad's house, and my mom and dad's house is small and brick. You know, it's like a one-story, tiny little brick place.
It's a Three Little Pigs thing, you know. Our house was like, you could blow it down. We
Yeah.
house and her
So we
parents
went to
were brick.
the smart little pig house.
Yeah.
So and we took our cat, and he fought with their cat all night long.
On top of Amanda.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Like they were like trying to both sleep on me, and then they'd be like, you know, and I'm like, shut up. So and then it was windy. You could hear the wind howling, but everything was okay.
Yeah, at one point, like 3 in the morning, the one of the alarm, you know, the smoke detector alarms.
Oh, yes,
All of a sudden,
yeah.
it just decided like
It's
the battery needs to be
chirping.
changed. You know that stupid chirping sound? You just want to get a baseball bat and destroy it, but it's too high. So I'm looking at the phone. I'm trying to see where the storm is, and the eye is right over
Right
us.
above us.
Of the storm.
Right. And it was a really sloppy eye, so it wasn't like, you know, a nice, you know,
It was opening up.
it was starting
which
to
a good
open up a
thing.
little bit. And the wind died down, and I'm like, said to you and Dad, you guys have the eye, go out and get the ladder. I
Yeah.
have a battery, you go out and get
Yeah,
the
so
ladder.
3:30 in the morning, in the middle of a hurricane, in the eye of the storm, I ran out to the garage and got an 18-foot ladder, put it up there, took the battery, changed the battery, took the ladder back into the garage. Everything's whipping around. I'm like, oh, this is the stupidest thing ever. And then we got back inside, and then it started hitting again. You know, then it started moving, and we started, and you know, if you've never been through it, it just, you look outside and it's just everything sideways and blowing in this gray wall of tree
Sideways
stuff.
rain,
Yeah, there was no like lady on a bike, like, no, but it was just crazy, but we only got, our winds were only like 85 miles an hour around there, which doesn't sound like an only thing, but the people not far from us were
Slightly
getting
breeze.
130 and 140, and that's a big difference when roots in the ground and
Yeah.
things on the wall. So we were happy. Our house was fine when we came back.
Yeah.
We were kind of shocked, actually. But there was a lot of trees down and all the things. We got lucky. People, some to the right and left of us, not so lucky.
Right.
But everybody chips in. Florida's like it is a crazy place, but people do kind of chip in
Help
and look
each other
out. Yeah, to
out,
help
yeah.
each other out.
Look
It's
out
as
for
crazy as it is. It's also
Yeah.
there's a reason it's the news capital. I call it the news capital of the United States, the weird news capital of the United States. Guy eats another guy's face, Florida.
You hear a story and you can just go, oh, I wonder if that happened in Florida.
Yeah, we were traveling and there was a news report that an alligator walked into a bar and we realized it was our local bar. And it was like, in St. Pete Harbor, you know, we're like, that's our bar. Oh my God, an alligator walked in there. We weren't there. Like, oh, you know, yeah. So nothing shocks you when you're down there. It's just craziness. But you realize it's like a freak magnet state. Like everyone that's a nut or a freak guy gets attracted to living there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun.
Like us.
It makes it like us. Like makes it more interesting. Makes life more interesting. So. Yeah. So anything else? Any random? Yes.
What is the comic book that you remember that made you want to actually get into comics, and why?
That's a good question. The comic that made us want to get into comics. Do you remember yours?
I'm sure it was like a Wonder Woman comic that I was reading when I was, I'm going to say, 8 or 9 years old. And then after that, it was Red Sonja comics. And then after that, it was like Frank Miller's Daredevils. And then, yeah, you know. Oh, and before that, it was the X-Men. You know, so it was like Wonder Woman, Red Sonja, X-Men.
Do you remember what the first comic you ever read was?
Well, this is what I do remember. My first Tooth Fairy gift was a nickel in a Mad magazine. So I think that Mad magazine was probably my first comic. And then Archie comics. When I would sit at home, you know, there was never. I lived in a time where there wasn't that much good TV in the daytime, and I was too little to appreciate soap operas. You know, I was just like, oh, it's a bunch of people talking, and why are they crying all the time? You know, you know, if I had to stay home from school, like with the flu or something, my mom would always like bring a stack of comics, and they were usually Archies. I was really into Archies when I was really young. So yeah.
Yeah,
What about you?
Well, I had two older brothers, so there was comics everywhere, right? There were comics, Playboy magazines, Little Annie Fanny, that's a comic book. Oh, Wicked Wanda, that's a comic book. But it was, it was definitely like Fantastic Four was sticks in my brain. Like that was the one where when I read it, I needed to get the issues before and after it. So I remember that was the first time I started tracking down comics, and then Superman. So it was, without showing my age, but it was like, you know, maybe late 60s, early 70s. So it was like, you know, and comics were cheap. They were 12 cents, 15 cents. And I used to go to Salvation Army and buy them by the pound. So it was like a buck and you get a couple of pounds of comics.
Nice.
And they used to wrap them in rope, which I didn't like. So I told the guy, I'll buy all the comics.
There's like 4 divots.
Yeah, 4 divots, and it was ruined.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll buy all the comics if you put them in boxes. So he would put them in boxes, and it would be like, so a box of comics would be like $2, and it would be like 200 comics in it. Random stuff, you know, and back then it was like so random, anything that was in there. I used to buy boxes,
Yeah.
and me and my brothers would read them, and then we had the stoop in front of our house, you know, stairs, and all the kids in the block used to come and sit and read comics on my stoop, because we didn't watch TV, really. TV was only a Saturday morning thing, like Saturday morning cartoons were on, otherwise we didn't watch TV.
Yeah.
We had a thing called the 4:30 movie in New York, which was like usually like a Godzilla movie cut down to 25 minutes by the time the commercials were done. But reading was like all we did. So we grew up reading everything. We consumed anything, any book, any comic, we read everything. And it was great because we would all read it on a thing and go, oh, this is a good one, and we'd pass it around and everybody would read that one, and then we'd argue out stuff like, you know, who's stronger, and, you know, I think I could see Red Sonja's butt in this panel a little bit, you know, like really intricate, very involved conversations about stupid things.
Who would win in a fight?
Right, who would win a fight is the #1 Hulk first thing, and I always used to go, you know, Superman get them both, just throw them in space, and let them do their own thing and die, you know, so whatever, we used to just argue this stuff, but that was the fun of comics, and it was not like now where you gotta buy 85 books. It used to be 1 comic, 1 story. You're done. You know, it was all there. And, you know, because there were no comic stores really, so you didn't buy month to month. You just went to a store and they had a comic on a rack and you hoped it was one you were looking for. You know, it was just random comics. I used to do a thing with the local barbershops. I would give them 1 new comic for like 4 or 5 old comics, because they would have stacks of them. So I'd say, here's a new book for you, but I'm gonna take 4 or 5 old ones. And they're like, sure, take what you want. They pick through. And that was my swapping thing down Flatbush Avenue. I would supply the barbershops with new comics. And I'd come back with a stack of comics. Ridiculous stuff, you know. Hustling even then.
You're getting rid of the old stuff.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of your old smelly comics and bringing you a brand new one. That Fantastic Four #12, let me get that out of your face. That's horrible. You don't want that. Here's whatever #1, and it's shiny and new. Oh, great. Different world back then, you know?
Yeah.
And I always had like, in my neighborhood, my mom and dad would say, you know, if we had older people, we had a lot of older people on our block, and so if it snowed, I have to shovel every older person on the block snow before I can go out and make money shoveling, right? I had to shovel all the older people. And yeah, I would be rewarded after 4 hours of shoveling. They'd give me a glass of milk and a cookie, you know? And my dad would be like, Dad, Mr. Dabrowski, you have to get this, get that, da-da-da-da. But that's how I used to make money to buy comics, was to shovel snow. That was my income.
It's honest work.
Yeah, until I started hustling fireworks and videotapes, but that's later on. That's later. Dishonest work, yeah. Dishonest work at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started out as honest work. So, any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah, since obviously both of you worked on both sides, the writer and the artistic side, how did your approach change, you know, in respect to both either being a writer or an artist, regardless of whether?
Well, now I'm more of a control freak than ever. Well, now that I know a little bit more about writing, when I'm laying out a page, I see dialogue that I want to see in it, and if it's not already there, I'll add it. Even if I'm not writing the book, I'll be like, hey, can we do this? You know, I'm a lot more bolder now with, with what I want to see or hear the characters saying or doing. So yeah, I'm nowhere